Okay guys, welcome back. So in this video we are going to be making a summary table from our raw data. Okay, so this is going to be our summary table over here. Okay, so I've named the each variable that I'm interested to summarize in the summary table at the top here for each column. Okay, basically what I've got here is BS1, so I've got before sample 1, treatment is before. First I'm going to summarize behavior A. I want to summarize behavior A by looking at the total duration of time that behavior A was performed during this focal. I want to look at how many times that behavior was performed during the focal. And I want to get a rate then per minute of that behavior. Okay, so let's see how we do this then. So I've got a few examples in here already, okay, of how that is done. And what I'll do is make another row here for behavior B, and we can see exactly how to do that and you can follow it. Okay, so again we've got BS1, it's before sample 1, it's before. Okay, but now we're looking at behavior B. All right, so what we can do then is to perform a function in Excel which basically tells Excel to sum up all of the durations for behavior B, so in this column here, all right, for behavior B, which is indicated in this column here. All right, and what we need to do is perform what we call an if, a sum ifs function, which we can see here. Okay, so what we need to do is press equals to start off our function. We then type sum ifs. Okay, then we open our bracket and it tells us basically what we want to put in here, what we need to put in here. Okay, so first of all we need the sum range. Okay, so that range is basically cell H2 to cell H11. Okay, so it's this range of data that we're interested in. Okay, so first of all, let's put that in here. So H2, and then we put a colon, and then put H11. So that gives us our range, okay, where our data fall. Okay. And then we want to include the range for the criteria. So that's this column over here. So then we put F2 colon F11. Okay, so we've selected the criteria we want. Okay, then if we put another column, then we need to tell it that we just want the duration from behavior B from this column here. So in order to do that, we put some inverted commas, speech marks, then put B, and then close it with another speech mark, and then close the whole thing with a closed bracket, and then hit enter. Okay, so it actually turns out, oh, that's why this one in this top one I've actually selected for A. Let's just change that to B. Okay, so we've now calculated our behavior durations for behavior A and for behavior B. All right. Now, what we can actually do is drag this formula and just change small elements of it. So what we can actually do, if we go up to our top formula bar up here, and we can fix these rows and columns by putting dollar signs before and after the column letters, so the column identifiers. So if you do that for all of them, and then hit enter. Okay, now what we can do is we can copy and paste this. So Control C, copy it below to with Control V, and then we add a C in here. Okay, we can do the same for behavior D, and the same for behavior E. So that's Control C and Control V to paste. Okay, now what we can do, we can actually just drag this formula down as I showed you before. So you hover over the cell and then hover over the bottom cross and then left click and then just drag that down. Okay, we'll see that it's the same, okay, but that is because it hasn't changed the criteria here. So it hasn't changed the actual behavior that we want to select. Okay, so I'm just going to press escape to get off of that. So what I can then do is just go through each one and just change the behavior. So I'll change B here to a C, hit enter, change B there to a D and hit enter, and I'll change B there to an E and hit enter. Okay, so now basically what I've got is all of the times, all the total durations of each behavior that I observed during that 5-minute focal. Right, so now I've got my durations. What I might want to do next is count the number of behaviors that I saw in order to produce a rate of how many times those behaviors occurred per minute during my overall observation time. Okay, it's quite a simple formula to do again. It's what we call a COUNTIF function. So you can see that up here. Okay, so again, what we want to do is select the actual range that we're interested in, and then we tell it which criteria within that range to count. All right, so let's just do that. So if we go over here, press equals, type in COUNTIF, open a bracket. So the range we want is now this column here. Okay, this is the one we want to count. So it's F2 colon to F11. Okay, and then we put a comma and then open speech mark, and then we select B because we want to count how many B's occurred, and then we close the speech mark and then close the bracket to complete the formula and then hit enter. Okay, once again, I just need to change this to an A. For some reason, I put a B in there when I was making this. Okay, so yeah, now we have a count for A and we have a count for B. And then again, what we can do is if we fix these rows and columns with dollars, we can then just drag that formula and then go through each one and just change the criteria that we actually want to count. And change the last one to an E. There. All right, so now basically what we have is a total count for all the behavior categories that we observed during that time. All right, so once we've got those counts, in this next column, we need to calculate total observation time in order to get the rate. Okay, so in order to do that, because we've got start and end focal down here, this is actually really straightforward to do. Okay, so we can literally just put an equals in there to start a equation, and we can literally just we want to take this away from this, so we can just basically select this cell, so D2, put a minus and then select C2 and then hit enter. Okay, and that will give us an observation time. So this is 5 minutes. All right, so that's correct. We know we've got 5 minutes here. All right. However, we need to do something else, because when we want to calculate a rate, so when we want to go time divided by total count to get our rate of observations per minute, it's not going to recognize this as an actual time in minutes. So what we need to do is an extra bit to convert that to absolute minutes. Okay, so if we click on that cell and then go up to our formula bar over here, let's just put some brackets around this to start off with. So whenever we've got a formula, if you put brackets around it, that's the part of the formula that Excel will carry out first. So in this case, we want that part first, all right? But then what we need to do is times that by 1,440. The reason for 1,440 is because that's how many minutes there are in a day, and because Excel sets this up in a 24-hour clock, that then converts it into absolute minutes. So once you've got that, you can hit enter. You'll need to change the cell type. So if you go up to here, up to the top here, as I showed you before, to how to change the cell format, you need to change that to general. And there you have it. We've now got our time in absolute minutes, so 5 minutes. Okay? And then once we've got that, calculating the rate is really, really straightforward. So we literally can just click over in our rate column, hit equals, and then it is literally time divided by count of behavior, and hit enter. And that gives you your rates. Okay, I've just realized that I used the wrong formula for calculating rate. Okay, so let's just delete these rates and start that again quickly. So it's not time divided by count, it's count divided by time to get rate. Okay, been a long time since I've done this, sorry about that. So again, if we just do that again, so it's equals behavior count divided by total observation time gives us our rate, and then we can drag that down. Okay, so here we've got behavior A was performed 0.8 times per minute, behavior B was performed 0.6 times per minute, and behaviors C, D, and E were performed 0.2 times per minute. Okay, so that's basically ultimately how we want to summarize our data. Okay, this of course is just for one sample, okay, which you might have, for example, if you did a pilot study, you might just end up with data like this. But ultimately what you're going to end up with is several samples. So you'll have at least 5 for before and at least 5 for after. What I've done in the next video is just shown you what that might look like from a raw data perspective. And we can just look at maybe summarizing some of that very quickly if you want to in the next video. Okay, thanks guys.